Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of The Intelligent Moron with Alex Silva. I hope you all had a good Mother's Day. I hope you did something for your mother that she would be proud to tell her coworkers what you, being their son or daughter, did for them on this special day. That, I think, is a good mindset of how you should approach Mother's Day. What is my mom going to tell her friends / coworkers what her children did for her on Mother's Day? We took my mother to dinner, and we got her a gift card for a boutique that she shops at. Got a pretty good amount of money for that. Wasn't sure on the amount, but my sister was there with me, so we gauged at a good $200 for a nice gift card. Not sure if that's too low or too high, but I'm not a person who is a very intelligent shopper. I don't know how to bargain for clothes. That's what I mean by an intelligent shopper for clothes shopping. I know some brands that stand above others, but I'm not really sure how to gauge in a gift card. What do you give for this type of store? So it was pretty good. Went to Texas Roadhouse for dinner. It was pretty good. Could have been better, though. Could have been better. We got there around 6:20, and we got seated around... No, we didn't get there at 6:20. What time did we get there? 6:15, I think. And then we got seated around 7 o'clock. And, it's a nice place. Ever been in Texas Roadhouse? It's a chain restaurant. It's a steakhouse. They serve steaks and some barbecue items, some burgers, sandwiches, but mainly they're known for steaks, and they cook them pretty well. But we got there. They always have that signature bread with their cinnamon butter spread, and it always just tastes fire every single time. If you haven't been there, you should check it out. It's pretty damn delicious. But we got there, and we ordered our drinks, and the waiter comes back and brings us our drinks, and he's like, you know what, guys, just so you know, we're pretty busy today. The kitchen's pretty backed up. I'm like, okay. How backed up is it? And he says, it's going to be about an hour before you get your food. And he's like, you guys want to stay? You guys want to dip? We've already had people just get up and go. It's no big deal if you don't feel like you want to wait that long. And I'm thinking you know what? It's already 7 o'clock. Might as well just wait. I don't want to get up, find another place, go there, and then try to, find a table, right? Or try to find, a good wait time. Because before this, we had put on a wait list. We put ourselves on a wait list. That way it's a little bit easier to get a table, rather just showing up and say, hey, party for 4. Get us in there as soon as you can, So we put in that wait list. We checked in when we got there. So it was, I think, a little bit, more of a the way to go than just showing up and be like, hey, give us a table. So we got there, checked in, and then this all shit happens, So we're like, you know what? Fuck it, let's just stay here. Who cares? We'll order an appetizer, we'll get some more bread, we'll chill out, we'll chat a bit, so we did that. It was nice, after an hour passed by, though, thank God. It was only an hour. I didn't go too further than that. And we got our food. I ordered the New York strip steak. I went big on this one. I got a 12-ounce steak. Delicious cut of meat, one of my favorites. And then I had a side of green beans and a side of mashed potatoes. And it was pretty good. Pretty delicious. I'm a big food guy. But steak to me is one of like the things that I love so much, and I cherish every moment that I get a good steak. Steak is probably one of the easier meats to cook in terms of like the process of cooking it. There isn't really much to it. You just kind of flip it a few times and then it's ready. And then depending on how you like it cooked, whether it's medium rare, medium well, what have you, you just kind of, feel for it. Once you cook it for like a first like couple times, it kind of becomes natural. And it usually doesn't take that much seasoning or preparing for it to taste well. I love to, if it was my own choice, my favorite cut is a ribeye steak. And what I like to do is I like to, let that sit out in room temperature for a little bit, or get it to room temperature, and then, put some olive oil on it, put some salt, some pepper, and just slap it on the grill. Put some butter over it, maybe some garlic, and man, that thing is one of the finer tasting meals that you can make yourself. If the cut of meats, can be pretty pricey, but it does not matter when you bite into that steak and you cook it the way you want to. Take that first bite of that ribeye steak, drenched in all the stuff that you put in, and you're like, God damn, I made this. This is unbelievable. And I always like to use a cast iron skillet and sear the steak. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful work of art. It's so easy and it's so simple. Like, not many ingredients used, not much preparation or cooking methods used to make this a wonderful meal. And it's always, when I eat it, it's always delicious. It's like, it's something that's so simple, yet with these flavors and these ingredients that are put into it, that it just makes it one of the best meals that you can possibly eat. And I go back to it every time. Every single time. Whenever I go out, I usually look at the steaks. If I'm feeling like I'm going to spend a lot of money, I'll be looking at the steaks. I'll be like, what can I get here? Now, again, I didn't go for the ribeye this time. I decided to go for the New York, which I like as well. And I prepare it the same exact way. I just think that I, myself, have made ribeyes far better than most restaurants can. Now, if you go to like a signature steakhouse, like a very premier steakhouse that is known for cooking steaks, maybe you should probably, give it a shot there and get the best cut of meat that you can possibly get there, 100%. But if it's, it's maybe like a Chili's or an Applebee's, are you going to get the ribeye there? Was it going to be that? One time I got a ribeye at Applebee's. This was, maybe 5 years ago. My friends and I went to go bowling. We went to go bowling at a chain called Bolero. A giant building with just a bunch of bowling alleys. Like, it was something I've never seen before. Like, I've been to bowling alleys, like local bowling alleys that are like, mid-size bowling alley, got like about 12 lanes. This one had like about 24, like double the amount. And I was like, this is insane how many people you can fit in this goddamn bowling alley. And we went there, we bowled, and then we were feeling like pretty, famished, like we could use a bite to eat. So we decided to go to Applebee's. Of all places, some idiot friend of mine who I'm still friends with was like, hey, what about Applebee's? I haven't been to Applebee's in a while. I was like, really? Applebee's? Like, there's like other places we can go to that have better food. But we decided to go to Applebee's. At that point I was younger and I was feeling kind of, adventurous with what I was going to order. And I saw on their menu, like, I was hungry too. Like, I was really hungry. And I was like, oh man, I'm famished. I could eat like an entire fucking like ribeye steak right now. So I'm looking at the menu, and then I see ribeye steak. It's like maybe $28, right? Not like super expensive, but like to me back then, I was like, that seems like a freaking gonna be a A+ 5-star dish right there. I'm like, oh, waiter, I want the steak, the ribeye, cook it medium, please. And I was excited. I was ready. I couldn't wait. After a hard night of bowling and winning 0 games and getting maybe 3rd place amongst my friends, being my best finish, I was like, I deserve this ribeye steak. I deserve it. And I got it. And I gotta tell you, it wasn't the most flattering piece of meat I've ever seen. Being the optimist that I am, that I truly, truly am, I was like, you know what? Fuck it. This looks like it's gonna be all right. I take a bite out of it. This is not how I ordered it. Not at all. I was like, this is not medium. There's no pink here. It's all brown. And it was chewy, like really chewy. I'm like, oh, you know what? This is what I should have expected from the ribeye steak at Applebee's. Unfortunately, it did not meet my standards of steak, and I was pretty disappointed. But at the end of the day, I was like, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. I enjoyed it. I said that. I said my meal was okay. It was good. I don't think I said it was bad. Maybe my friends might recall differently what I've said, but I'm pretty sure I was like somewhat okay with what I ate that night. Or maybe I wasn't. But I've been known to do that. Obviously the steak wasn't good, right? But in my mind, I'm like, this is all right. Or what I'm saying to my people, my friends, is like, this is all right. It's because I think that I have to say that in order for me to feel like I made an okay purchase. Because I spent $28 plus tax and tip on that steak, I'm not going to be like, this is terrible. I want my money back, because it's just going to make me feel awful. I do that all the time. If there's food that is brought, if I go to like a potluck, or the family buys dinner, or the family makes something that's like, new that they've never made before, and they try it for the first time, and it comes out like not very good, I'll be like, it's not good, but I'm going to eat it. And that's when the food is like, technically free. You know what I'm saying? Someone brings it. It's, you go to a party. It's there. They buy it at a restaurant. It's their treat. They're paying. I'll be like, it's terrible. It's not very good at all. But I continue to eat it. Why? Because I feel like I am like, I don't just eat food for the pleasure of taste. I eat food for the fuel that it gives me to continue on my day and my survival as a person. I can't just be like, oh, I need to taste this. I want to taste that. I'm not like Remy from Ratatouille. I don't need to chase the flavors all the time. I'm very fortunate to live in a Hispanic family where the food that they prepare and that they make on a 99% basis is always delicious. That just might be my upbringing or what, but like I always tend to have some pretty decent food almost every week, It's not something that's like you grew up with like a parent that did not know how to cook well. No, my mother knew how to cook very, very well. Extremely well. Like I was blessed upon blessed that she cooked as well as she did. Like, I'll be honest, some of her dishes could be published in like a cookbook or something like that because of how delicious they are. Now, I might be biased because she's my mother, right? But delicious, delicious food. Occasional slip up here and there, trying new things, but that's expected. The meals I'm talking about are like meals that have been perfected in the family for generations and generations. New stuff like, what, you're going to make like eggplant, pasta or whatever the fuck it's called, eggplant, whatever, that might be a bit rocky. But, you give it a best shot. And, if it's not good, I'll tell you it's not good, I'm there to give you the truth, to speak the truth, and nothing else but the truth. But, going back to that point where it's like, you want to tell yourself that the food that you consumed was good because you want it to be good. You want it to be something that you enjoyed. But you just can't do it. And to me, that's like an uphill battle. It's like, I want to say it's good. It's not good, but I need to eat. So I'll just eat it. That's kind of like where I've been at, and where some of my friends have a problem with my mentality with that. They hate whenever I call out food of it not being good, and I continue to eat it. I probably won't eat a lot of it. I probably won't eat that much, but I will eat enough to my filling, or at least to my satisfaction of my stomach. Like, okay, you can carry on. You can actually walk home. You have the energy to walk, okay? Like that, right? I'm not going to be like, no, I'm not going to eat this if it's just like, all right, food, But that's not how my brain works. That's not how I, go about my life. I need food to survive. I ain't just going to nibble on shit and, be like, yeah, I don't like it, and walk away. I'm not that picky. I mean, I am picky, but I'm going to finish the food. I'm going to finish, or at least, like, eat what's on my plate and be like, okay, that's it. I'm good. I ate. I'm cool. I'm fine. Not to be rude, but I'll finish the food. I don't know. I just feel like, as I grow up, as I get older, and I become more of a adult, and I become more of a, I guess you could say, a man, even though I don't really feel like a man, because I still feel like I'm way too young. Like, I don't feel like anywhere close to how my father probably feels as a man, right? Like, I feel nothing like that. You know how you always viewed your father as like, that's a man right there. That's a man. One day I'll get there. I will be a man like that. I'm almost 30. I feel like I'm not even close to that. Not even close one bit to that. I just can't seem to be like, hey, when do I actually feel like I'm a man, There at no point in time yet have I felt like I'm a man, I don't know. But maybe that's, maybe it just like kind of like shifts and it turns like when you're least expecting it. Maybe it's like when he had kids. Maybe when he had me, when I was his first son, he's like, okay, I'm a man now. I'm a man. I am a man. I'm just switch like that. Maybe that's what will happen. Maybe if I have a kid, I will become a man. But, you shouldn't just have kids just to, better your own self, right? That's not what you're supposed to do. That's totally not the reason to have a kid. Like, I need to be a man. I'll have a kid. Yeah. I don't care with who. I'll just have a kid. But, I just feel like that point in my life will not happen unless I have a kid. So I guess when I get to that point, I'll let you know. But until then, I guess I'll still be like a kid. You know why? I kind of feel like I'm almost like SpongeBob and Patrick when I said that. I'm still a kid. Because remember when the SpongeBob SquarePants movie came out? And they actually utter the words that you're still a kid. There is not one point in my childhood cartoon watching self that I was like, SpongeBob and Patrick are kids. Not one point in my life. I was like, hey, SpongeBob and Patrick are kids. And I'm a kid too. I like watching SpongeBob and Patrick because they're kids like me. No, I never thought in a million years that SpongeBob and Patrick were kids. For one, SpongeBob had a job. Kids don't have jobs. I mean, the way they said it was like he's like a little kid still. Like he's a Rugrat, like a kid like with, who hasn't matured, who no one actually thinks is, can do anything in the world. Everybody thinks that about him. Everybody just says, nah, SpongeBob, you're a kid, and so are you, Patrick. In no way, shape, or form when I was growing up watching SpongeBob, was I ever like, SpongeBob is a kid like me? Just like, no, never once. So when I heard that in the SpongeBob SquarePants movie, I was like, what? No one thought they were just like funny adults. Like funny adult cartoons that we never associated with as being a kid or an adult. Unless, of course, you see like a fucking a fish in the show with like a little fish, and he's like, this is my son, you know? It's like, oh, his son is definitely a kid. He's a kid fish. That his dad is a daddy fish, obviously, who's an adult. Like, that's obvious. Then you can differentiate, like, oh, this cartoon character is just a fucking fish. Cool, whatever. But it's like, no, at no point where I was like, hey, yo, SpongeBob, you and me, we kids, bro. Like, no, never. I couldn't believe that they made it up like that in that fucking movie. Maybe it was because kids were the main, audience of SpongeBob, and they wanted to relate to the kids even more than they already did, without blatantly saying, hey, we're kids. We're just kids. We mess around. We're like kids. Like, I always thought that was just like so weird that they went in that direction. That, oh, we got to tell you that we're kids and we make mistakes. You know what that was? That was Nickelodeon being like, hey, we're actually making a major motion picture film that will be in theaters and be seen by not only kids, but their parents, their grandparents, who take them to these movies. So we got to make sure that we got our priorities straight, that SpongeBob and Patrick are kids, right? I mean, that's the only reason why they're fucking acting like this. No actual adult sponge or adult starfish would act like this, right? We'll make them kids for sure, right? That was probably some stupid executive that's like, hey, what the fuck? Who are these guys? What are they doing? Why would they do this? You gotta remember this. SpongeBob had some pretty gnarly episodes in its early days on air, on TV. Some pretty crazy ones. I remember one episode that I am pretty sure, has been banned from Paramount Plus, because Paramount Plus is now the home for SpongeBob to stream, because, Paramount owns Nickelodeon, therefore it's on Paramount Plus, right? There's an episode that is, pretty fucking hilarious, where SpongeBob and Patrick and even Mr. Krabs, who is SpongeBob's boss. Now tell me, what kids have a boss? Where they go up into a woman's house who happens to be Mr. Krabs' grandma, I believe, or mother, and raid her panty drawer. That is an episode in SpongeBob where they go on a panty raid. They say the words flat out in the episode of, have you ever been on a panty raid? And they actually do the panty raid. That is an episode in SpongeBob. Now, I'm pretty sure the executives at Paramount were like, hold on, what happens in this episode? They go on a panty raid? Now, I'm not sure if this film happened before or after that episode aired, but, I'm pretty sure there was some sketchy things that happened in the SpongeBob SquarePants show that they were like, hold on, you're telling me that this grown sponge and this grown starfish do what now? And they're not kids? What adult would do that, right? Like, they're probably thinking that in their fucking little meetings, like, nah, let's just make them kids just to be on the safe side. That way we could say that, yeah, they're immature and they make stupid decisions because they're kids. But, every kid that watched that fucking show is like, they're not kids. What? No kid sounds like this. Get the fuck out of here. I always thought that was just the stupidest fucking thing that they've ever done in anything. Any TV show or any, TV show turned movies. Like, giving an explanation of, or sort of like an explanation of why they do such stupid shit, right? It's like, who gives a fuck? But despite all that, still one of the best, TV show turned into feature films that I've ever seen. That and Jimmy Neutron, but Jimmy Neutron was before the show, and the movie spun off a show, and then the show just kind of died. Not one, there hasn't been like a Jimmy Neutron thing since then. They just kind of abandoned that. They won't give up on the whole SpongeBob and Patrick, though. They'll keep that motherfucker on the air for generations to come. I don't know why. I don't know if anyone still watches SpongeBob nowadays. I mean, I haven't seen recent SpongeBob. Maybe it's okay, but I'll tell you this. When I was younger and watching SpongeBob, I could definitely tell that there was a dip in quality within that cartoon. And as, the time went on and I was like seeing more and more of the shit being churned out by Nickelodeon, and I was like, this is not funny at all. I just dipped out. I was like, screw this shit. I'm out of here. I was like, ta-ta, bitch. No more SpongeBob for me. That's when I matured. That's when I went to, I don't even know what I started watching then. I guess I just started to watch like whatever TV show was popular at that point. Well, I was really big into The Office when it was popular. Parks and Rec as well. Those were some badass shows that I enjoyed watching back in the day. I was a big fan at Tosh.0 back then too. That was always fun. I used to watch South Park with some of my friends back in the day. Don't really watch it all that much anymore. My brother does, but I don't really, care for it too much. I didn't care for it all that much then. There were definitely some funny episodes, but nothing that I would be like, oh, I gotta see it. Oh, I need to watch it now. Or, oh, have you seen this? Like, I never really was the type of person that did that back then. It only happened when I would not shut up about The Boys, when The Boys first came out, because The Boys on Amazon was fucking lit as shit, and I wanted everybody to see it. But that's how everybody is. Everybody kind of wants everybody to watch what you're watching so we can relate and we can chat about it, But, it didn't really matter. And the season 2 came out. I was a little bit more mellow on that. Season 3 came out. I was definitely like zero, didn't say shit. And I guess you kind of grow up and you become like more mature and less invasive and less like a terror on people's lives. Hey, you need to watch this now because I said, it was just, that was also like during like somewhat the pandemic when that happened. And I was just like, ooh, this is, but also not like half. First season was not in the pandemic. Second season was the pandemic. I was like, hey, you need to watch this fucking shit right now. I was like, oh shit, I can understand why people wouldn't want to talk to me about that shit. That was a fucking mess. I mentioned on the show a couple weeks ago that I was playing God of War I was playing the first God of War because it's like my first like introduction into the games on the PlayStation. My first one. I loved it so much. I already went all over that and I said what I thought about it and I was like, yeah, this shit's lit. I love it. Yes, give me more of this. I decided to take a break from God of War and move on to another PlayStation exclusive. And I moved on to Spider-Man. That came out in 2018 on the PS4 originally. Because I have PlayStation Plus. So I decided, you know what, might as well just get this shit right now. So I got it on the PlayStation Plus, and I've been playing it, and I've been enjoying it. It's definitely not as good as God of War, obviously, but still a very fun game. One of the best in recent years, like if I have to like pick out a Spider-Man video game that has been as good as Spider-Man 2 back in the day, this will probably be the next best. It definitely is better, I think, but like there has not been a Spider-Man game that has come out since Spider-Man 2 that has been as good with like combat, web slinging, open world exploration, all that into one game. There's always been like a a couple Spider-Man games that come out that have one but not the other, or like have both but one is clearly better than the other, or just like kind of like don't really have much of it either and are still titled Spider-Man games, but like, it's like, to me, it's like a really, really, really good Spider-Man game. Like you get to fight crime, you get the good story, you get like a bunch of gadgets, you get different suits. Like for me personally, I've been rocking the Sam Raimi Spider-Man suit. If you don't know that, it's a Spider-Man suit from Spider-Man 1, 2, and 3, directed by Sam Raimi, which were the first Spider-Mans starring Tobey Maguire. So I have the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man suit in this game. So badass. Like, I have not taken that shit off at all. As soon as I was able to change my suit, I saw the suits that I had, and I was like, oh, look at this. The Raimi suit. The Tobey Maguire suit. Put that shit on, never took it off. I was just like, this is fucking badass, dude. I'm living my fucking childhood right here. Fuck Tom Holland. Fuck Andrew Garfield. I'm fucking Tobey Maguire. I was like, yeah, this is my shit. I rocked that shit all day and all night. It was the best shit I've ever seen. And it looks so good, too. It looks amazing. It looks incredible. Even though I'm playing the PlayStation 4 one, which, to me, I've kind of noticed it's a little, like, not as sharp as it could be, especially with the cutscenes and all that. But with the combat, the web slinging, it's pretty good. I don't see much of an issue in terms of that, but, like, it still uses the older voice actor, or the older character model that was, scratched out along the way in favor of more of a Tom Holland looking model, which was kind of weird to me. I always thought that it was just like bizarre how they kind of changed that, like after the game launched. I don't know why. I don't know like what the premise of that was, who that was supposed to appease or make happy. Was Tom Holland happy? Was like the producers happy? Like, well, who was that even for? Was it because Spider-Man was so popular back then because he was, played by Tom Holland? It's like, well, I guess it makes sense to put Tom Holland's likeliness in the game and make it feel like it's, part of that same kind of universe. I don't know. I've always kind of wondered that. And when I saw that it was the original character model, I was like, oh, this is different, but I got used to it. I was like, okay, yeah, this is Peter Parker. I don't need Tom Holland's face to make me believe that this is Peter Parker or Spider-Man. That's just silly. But yeah, it's a fun game. Super fun. I don't know if I'm going to be able to finish it, though, because I'm pretty sure it got taken off PlayStation Plus. So I no longer have the game. So I'm either going to have to buy the game or find somebody who has it and borrow it. I know, right? Going back to physical media. Right? Well, who am I, right? But I enjoyed it. And you know what was kind of sad, though? Is because the last couple weekends, I had known that it was going to expire on May 16th. And I was like, I got to grind the shit out of this. I got to grind the fucking shit. But the game is much bigger than I thought it would be. Meaning that the story is a pretty good, decent length. Plus the side stuff is kind of cool that I kind of wanted to do it. And you know me with open world games, I like doing all that shit. I like exploring. I like wandering. I like doing whatever you call it. I think that shit's so much fun. And even though the stuff in Spider-Man was kind of repetitive, like there's these things where you just fight enemies. There's like 3 different types of them that you have to clear throughout the city to, get 100% completion of that region of New York City, which to me is like, it's not necessary, but I like clearing shit just to clear shit. So I kind of started to do that and waste a lot of time by doing that. And in the midst of that, I can only play so much of that game at a certain time. It's not like God of War where the story and the gameplay is so engaging, I just want to keep going. It's not like that in this game. Like, yeah, the story's pretty fun. The gameplay is pretty fun as well. But it's not like there's like more of a... It doesn't like keep going. Like, it doesn't like keep giving you more and more reasons to keep playing. and rewards you with like different combat modes or different like, new game mechanics. It's just like kind of the same thing at a certain point. And I'll be honest, some of the stuff does feel kind of repetitive, that I had to force myself to stop, because I'm like, all right, I'm playing way too much of this fucking game right now. Like, I've killed so many bad guys. I've done all this, done all that. It's like, oh man, let me just take a break. I don't even want to play it after a while. I'm like, oh fuck, maybe it was a mistake to grind it. Maybe it was. I don't know. That could have been my fault, but I still enjoyed it and I want to complete it. But I think I just need to find somebody who has a copy of the old PS4 version so I could play it, because I did not get the remastered copy with the PlayStation Plus account that I have. I don't know. I just did not have that, so kind of bums me out. Little sad about that, but it was fun. I just gotta continue. I gotta complete it. It's something that was really fun and would give me, more of a video game background of what I've completed, and what stories I have completed and what campaigns I've completed, especially on my PlayStation, which I've only completed one game from that, and I still got God of War Ragnarok on my hard drive waiting to be discovered, waiting to be played. But I'm also behind. I gotta complete Hogwarts Legacy. I gotta start Jedi Survivor. I have not started that at all either. And like I said, God of War, like I am so behind. But you know what? I gotta tell you this, like I'm excited to play all those games, excited. But it is not in a position that I want to be in. I do not like having things that I technically have to get done, even though I really want to get them done, but like still knowing that I'm so far behind on all these games that I want to complete, but I just don't have the time to do it yet, because a lot of them are just very, very, very time consuming, just because of the style that I like to play these games. Like I said, I'm a big wanderer, I'm a big explorer, side quest god. I love doing all that shit. So when I get a game that has that and does it pretty well and like builds on it, gotta tell you, it brightens, it lights up my eyes, it lights up what I'm gonna do. But at the same time, it's like, oh, here we go. I'm gonna waste a lot of time here that I could be playing another game and getting that completed, but still loving the time that I'm using to complete the game that I'm playing right there. Like it's a gift and a curse. It's my gift, it's my curse. It's the best of both worlds, I guess. It's terrible that I'm like this. It's terrible that I have to do all this shit, but it's just like where I'm at. It's just how I am. Something that I can't really fathom of why this is happening now. Maybe not now, but like why so, abrupt and why so passionate. And I think you might have seen this, and I know my friends and my brothers have been putting this into the forefront of me, of their openly bashing of the Fast and the Furious franchise, and the blatant bashing of some of the recent movies, scenes where physics are ignored and physics don't seem to be a thing. Now, listen, I don't think that the Fast and the Furious movies have been like cinematic masterpieces or like some of the best movies of all time. I'm not in that camp. Furious 7, though, was pretty damn lit. Still is my favorite Fast and the Furious movie is Furious 7. Like, it's my favorite by far. It also has the most heart to it. Probably the saddest one. The coolest one, I think, in my opinion, too. And I think at their prime, like action-wise, story-wise, all that stuff, the big set pieces, the big sequences, the cool lines, the cool fights, the cool bad guys, like when Jason Statham was the bad guy, like that shit was lit, bro. That was lit. That was like one of the better, like, probably the best Fast and the Furious movie, in my opinion. Now we get to 8, 9. I mean, there's no doubt, like, they go crazy in those films. Insane. Especially 9. And I've said, like, that 9, F9 to me, is not in any way, shape, or form supposed to be taken seriously one bit. And in fact, like, in the movie, they actually fucking mock what they're doing in that film. They go to space, fucker, like, Dom takes on, like, 50 dudes, beats them all, straight up does some superhero shit, like, just, like, fucking destroys people, right? Like, catches cars, falls from, like, 10-story buildings and lives, is thrown through a fucking wall, through a fucking ground, whatever, the ceiling, it doesn't matter. Like, guys don't obey the laws of physics in that franchise. They just don't. And for some people that I know that try to attack that and make it seem like it's so cool to attack it, well, I got a newsflash for you. The people who love Fast and Furious don't give a shit. They don't give a shit. I don't either. You know why? Is because all that over-the-top physics-defining stunts and scenes and Dom catching a car with his bare hands is fucking hilarious. Like, every scene that I was being sent to from a stupid fucking Twitter thread, from probably a dumbass bot that is generating this bullshit, it's hilarious to me. Actually hilarious. When I see Dom catch a car, I can't help but fucking laugh. When I see Vin Diesel deliver horrible, horrible lines of dialogue and act so macho and so cool and so fit, I die of laughing. When Dominic Toretto got married in a white tank top and white pants, I laughed so hard because it was hilarious. But that's because they know that this stuff is so over the top, and that if you're not cheering for it, they want you to laugh at it. Because, let's be honest, I've seen a lot of the Fast movies in theaters. 5, 6, 7, 8. Did not see 9. I might see 10 in theaters. We'll see. And they have very, very passionate fans. The Fast and the Furious franchise has some very, very passionate and very loud fans. I think it was Fast and the Furious 8 or 7 where I went to a theater and straight up, I shit you not, there were fucking car mechanics that came in their jumpsuits, in their work attire, like after they got off their shift, to go see fucking Dominic Toretto in his fucking muscle car, whatever, what it's a Challenger, Charger, whatever he has, and fucking run people off the road and blow up shit. Like, these movies have a legit fucking passionate fan base that when they were in the theater, bro, they were cheering for everything. They were laughing at everything fucking Roman said, laughing at Tej. It was like, these movies were like their lives. Like, these movies are their lives. And it gets kind of annoying sometimes. Last time I had that experience, it was kind of annoying because these people were just laughing and cheering and screaming at everything that they fucking did in this movie. But you know what? That's what they fucking like. Some people like comic book movies and that shit. Other people like fucking Dominic Toretto wearing a white t-shirt and driving a car, you know? I ain't gonna yuck your yum, bro. But, like, that should be allowed to happen. You know, it should be allowed for those people to exist and like the shit that they like. Because, you know, what's a world that's not a world worth living if you can't like the shit that you fucking like, right? People should be allowed to like when Dom Toretto catches a fucking car. I loved it. Not for like the coolness factor. It was so stupid, so silly, but it was funny as fuck. Funny as shit. When he says the streets always win, stomps his foot on the parking garage and it comes down. Now, granted, there's it's kind of coming down already because of an explosion that happened below it to make it crumble. But the fact that he stomped it and it was so perfectly timed and it just kind of came down all of a sudden after he stomped. Oh, it's like the perfect blend of badass and just like gut-busting funny shit. Could not believe it. When Dom was being hunted by his brother, who was played by John Cena, who is bigger than Dom, stronger than Dom, faster than Dom. Oh my God. Like, they treated Dom like he was a fucking superhero, and they cooked up someone in a lab who was his brother, played by John Cena, to hunt down Dom. Oh my God. That's hilarious. As soon as like that trailer, as soon as that shit came out, bro, the F9 trailer of how silly it was, the previous ones were kind of serious and try to remain grounded, would have like the occasional "this can never happen in real life" type of shit, like type of stuff that would happen. But when F9 came out, that trailer came out, there was absolutely nothing that I saw that looked like it could have been grounded or shot or even filmed on this planet. I was like, that's a different dimension with a different gravity and different people. These people are fucking super who can catch cars and shit. But F9, they fully went for that shit. They went to fucking space. Dom caught a car. He got slammed through a fucking roof and walls. He brought down a whole fucking structure, like a concrete structure with his bare hands. Was fucking toppled on by boulders and rocks and still fucking lived. Oh my God. The fact that his brother was like a weapon trying to hunt down Dom. Oh my God. Like, it's so funny. It's hilarious. Hilarious. So, yes, I am still a fan of the Fast and the Furious franchise. Probably not how I was when I first got introduced. And then when it was at its peak, Fast 5, 6, and 7, that was its peak. 100% sure. But now I'm just a different fan. I'm a different fan now. I'm a fan of the silliness and the outrageousness and the comedy of just all of it. All of it. Family is everything. You can't beat family. Oh my God. It's hilarious. It's truly something that you just go there to watch and to be entertained. The definition of like entertainment has got to be the Fast and the Furious franchise, because there's no like super like lore that anybody gives a shit about these films. There's no one who cares about like how this contradicts with certain things. They fucking make shit up all the time and no one gives a fuck. Like the villain from fucking Fast X, this newest movie, Jason Momoa, was apparently there at the events of Fast 5 and is now coming back to seek revenge on Dom. Like, what the fuck? But no one gives a shit, because no one should, because it's not something that you're supposed to take serious. Come on. I mean, for God's sakes, Deckard Shaw, played by fucking Jason Statham, was one of the biggest bad guys in Fast 7, 6, 7, and 8. And now he's like pretty much on their side now. Like, could you imagine if they made a movie where fucking Batman was trying to kill Joker and hunt down Joker, and then Joker becomes, his friend, and they take on Superman together, like some shit like that? Fucking nerds would fucking lose it. They would fucking boycott the shit. They'd be like, this is not true to the character that I read when I was 10. And they would fucking lose their fucking mind left and right. With this shit, no one gives a fuck. As long as they keep Dom, the mechanic, with family, it's fine. It's completely fine. These obscure villains, these, long lost brother, a la John Cena, they're accepted. They're laughed about, they're brought in, and they become family. As family can be, cool, dysfunctional, funny, heartbreaking. That's what this whole shit is. It's family. That's what the whole fucking thing resembles, is family. The whole franchise itself is family. What defines physics, or what beats physics? Family. Family is greater than physics in this shit, and no one gives a fuck, except for people who are like, why is he doing this? Or people who are like, I saw this video on YouTube, I could not believe that it was actually published and actually people actually gave a shit about. It's like, a physicist reacts to the Fast and the Furious. Like, oh my god. Like, you know what's gonna happen as soon as you see that title. He's gonna be like, how could they make this? They should have consulted a physicist when they shot this. Bro, who gives a fuck? No one should give a fuck about that shit. Who cares? Now, I haven't made the choice yet to see this film in theaters because I did not see F9 in theaters. And F9 is bad. F9 is really bad. I could only imagine the theater reactions to this shit. Like, F9 is terrible. It's funny as shit. Don't get me wrong, it is hilarious, but it is really bad. Like, really bad. The acting is bad. The shots are bad. The story is bad. The CGI is bad. Vin Diesel, in particular, is bad. Like, it's really bad. Hilarious. Fucking hilarious. But I'm not sure if I want to see that with a crowd of people who are Fast and Furious diehards, who fucking live and breathe on this shit, bro. Who live and breathe on this shit. I know I'm a fan, but I think I might reach my breaking point when it comes to the viewership that's within these theaters. Do I want to see that? Do I want to be in a theater when I'm laughing at something that's probably serious, and a bunch of fast heads are like, hey, what you laughing at? That's not funny. Fucking Dom lost so-and-so. Like, or fucking Dom didn't catch the car. What the fuck you like? Like, I don't know if I'm ready for that. So I have to probably get back to y'all next week if I actually end up seeing it in theaters or not, or if I chicken out. I might puss out. I'll be honest. I might actually puss out on this because I'm terrified of that reception. There's some films that you just don't want to go see with a crowd, right? There's some that I just don't want to see with a crowd. I've learned that the hard way. I learned that with watching the Avengers films in movie theaters. Although great experiences, fantastic experiences. For the most part, for the good movies like, Avengers 1, 2, and Infinity War, not Endgame, but like the rest, like pretty damn good experiences. Also very cringy. You got a lot of nerds in there. A lot of nerds crying, a lot of nerds tearing up, a lot of nerds screaming. There was a movie that I saw, I think it was No Way Home. Yeah, it was No Way Home, where a guy dressed up as Spider-Man to the left of me was fucking going bananas at everything and fucking like shouting and fist bumping and double fist bumping and fucking kicking his legs and shit. That guy was stupid. That guy was a loser, a nerd, and it was just like, something that you don't want to experience in real life, You don't want to experience real life cringe. I'm okay with seeing it online, seeing cringe memes, but like seeing it in real life is like, ooh, like I just want to evaporate into my chair. You know what I'm saying? Like, so in terms of seeing Fast X in theaters, I'm a little iffy on it. I'm a little on the fence. Not quite sure if I will. But I think I'll have to get back to you guys next week's episode because I totally don't know if I'm going to see that shit or not. But moving on. Last thing I want to talk about with you guys today is a little NBA playoffs. Mostly talking about the Lakers and the Nuggets in the Western Conference Finals. The Lakers, man. Game 1 happened yesterday, and the Nuggets ended up winning the game in the end. But I was watching the game, and like towards like the third quarter, like was crazy because they were like down by like 20 points. The Lakers were by 20 points at like for a lot of that game. And my brain, I'm thinking like, well, Denver is the best team in the NBA record wise, more like actually complete team, like of like the players on that team. And I was just like, dude, like the Lakers like are not looking very good, but they're scoring a lot. That's why I kind of like was like at that point, like the third quarter, beginning of the fourth, and throughout that game, it's just like like they're like not giving up. Like they're able to score, par for par with the Nuggets. So it's just like the Nuggets, worked up that lead to 20 points, and they're just kind of holding it for a while. And then the fourth quarter came around, and it's like usually in most NBA playoffs, like a team will get smart. By that, I mean like they'll just kind of quit on that game because, they know that they already lost that game. They can't get much worse than losing game one. It's not going to be any worse for them. And, just kind of, take their, just go home for the night and then come back the next game and hopefully have a better game and tie the series at a game apiece. That's always a team's mission when they go on the road, is just to win one game. Like that's always been like their goal. Like ever since I can remember watching sports, is like baseball, playoffs, basketball playoffs, is like we just got to get one away from home. Get it even. Steal a game. And I was just like thinking like, okay, well they're just going to probably do that in the fourth quarter. No, they did not do that. They came back. They were trying hard. They were actually like putting an effort throughout that entire game. Anthony Davis had 40 points in that game. It's just like you couldn't really tell because the Nuggets were pretty much leading the entire game, and you couldn't really tell because they were just always trying to fight back, and it was like not really that exciting until like the very end. But it was exciting because they got within like 6 points, and their team came alive. Then the Nuggets potentially blew that lead, and I was just like, what the fuck is happening? And all I gotta say is, man, like, the Lakers, like, even though they lost that game, bro, like, they still, like, they competed to the very end. They were almost going to win. They could have stole that game many, many times. And the Nuggets just kind of let them, like, get back into it. I could not believe it. As much as, like, you thought that, that the Nuggets would defend better, they didn't. They just kind of let LeBron, Davis, and Reeves just kind of wreck them, rip them apart, rip them apart and just like, score a bunch of points on them. But like, I could not believe what I was seeing because, it's just like if that happens again, who's to say that the Lakers don't come out winning that game, And for a fact, like this Laker team, just to me, just seems like a completely different team. Like they're so motivated. They're so like locked in. I can definitely tell that LeBron is like locked in on this whole playoff run right here because the team is playing so damn good and beating people that they probably should not be beating at all in terms of like who they have on their team. But they're all bought into this, this whole team and everything. It's just like, this is crazy. Like, how is this possible? Like, you never would have thought that the Laker team that started 2-10 would be in the Western Conference Finals today. Like, who would have thought of that? Like, of who was on that team, like Anthony Davis, LeBron James, both kind of older dudes. Dennis Schroeder is older. D'Angelo Russell is not like super young. Austin Reeves is all right, but like not super. It's like not a super young team, but yet competing in every way with every team that they come across. Like, there's no reason why they can't win like the next game, and even a couple at home, and like maybe put like Denver on the defensive, because even though Denver looked very, very good and Jokic looked amazing too, they still kind of let them fucking into that game and let them get it that close, like a 6-point win, I think, at the very end. Like, they barely got by 6 points. Like, I would not sleep on this team because they have the ability to come back. And we almost saw it last night. It was like, oh shit, like this is, I don't know. Like, again, they're going to be playing game 2 on Thursday, I believe, right? So today. So, we'll see. We'll see how it shakes up. what's going to happen. I think that as much as I want to say that the Nuggets look good, the Lakers look good as well. They looked very good. Both teams looked extremely well. Like it's just that Denver was able to hold on to that lead at the very end, like barely, but like still, like that was an insane game. I could not believe it. And if the Nuggets come out with that same kind of mentality and that same kind of like focus, that was like, we'll crush them right now, and then we'll kind of take it easy because we got a lead. That shit ain't gonna fly, bro. They ain't gonna fly. So game 2 is gonna be today at 5:30. This will be interesting. Game 2, Thursday at 5:30. That'll be interesting. See what happens, man. This is gonna be quite the series, I think. In no way, shape, or form did I think that the Lakers would ever get this far in the playoffs, but they are, and they look competent. They look like they're very engaged. They're competitive. It's like, this is not going to be an easy series for the Nuggets, bro. Not at all. And it should be an interesting one. Anyways, guys, that's going to be it for me today. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Remember, you can find this podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube at Intelligent Moron with Alex Silva. This podcast drops every Thursday morning. Make sure to like, subscribe, rate, review, do all that good stuff. And yes, thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. And I will see you guys next week.